pans out. We are watching Team Endpoint, and they are going to be squaring off against Vexed. This is ESEA main. Endpoint kind of mixed fortune so far in the competition, 5-5. Vexed doing slightly better, 7-3. Just caught the back end of Vexed against Enclave just earlier on tonight, 8 o'clock start. And they came through on cobble, 16-4, I believe it was. Enclave just didn't have the cohesive unit that they needed, and it was all Vexed one-way traffic. But with any luck, Endpoint will be able to put up a little more of a fight here as we see them on the T side. So it's going to be cobble that we're witnessing tonight, and cobble's such a broken map, in my opinion. It needs some tweaks. It's playing much like it did in the days of Source as Vanity with the opening pick as he takes down Aaron. This is going to be good stuff if Vex can pick up this round. The opening gambit on CT side pistol. Luz does get caught from short, so he gets one frag. He's going to get another up on Vanity, but 2v2 situation. The two Endpoint players pretty spread out around the map, need to get together and coordinate a plant if they can. Going to push through into connector. Pickles will be able to spot the former Endpoint player back in the days of Gfinity Elite Series Season 1, I believe. Those two seasons kind of rolled into one for me. I didn't watch as much of them as I would have liked. Pulse has got one chance for the second. It is Pickles, so him against Luzzer. We've got a tense 1v1 just to kick things off here. This is a good round for Vexed if they can get it on the CT side. For Endpoint picking it up, it will be business as usual on the T side of this map. Pickles walking his way towards the site. Does tag Luzzer, but he's going to drop out and try and play for time. Interesting plant to the back. Luzzer spamming through, hasn't seen to the right. Going to pick up the knife with the left slashes, and that was a little interesting. I was thinking Luzzer might not have seen the Vex player standing to his right there. It's pretty obvious, even with the benefit of X-ray, but they pick it up first round Endpoint. And now they can push on from here and see what they can do. Couple of second round AKs. As I say, Cobble, not the most balanced of maps, to say the least. So heavily T-sided. Oh, Pickles, okay, with the Deagle, finds Luzzer from Rock. Good opening pick. He's not going to have the opportunity to retrieve one of those two AKs. He's not now running into Pulse, who does pick up a frag on Quicks, who goes for the push. Mighty Max up in the drop, and the drop area can become very, very key on the CT side, and is a big reason why it's so difficult to lock it down on the CT side of things, which we'll talk about very soon as Weber picks up a frag on Truth. So numbers back in the favour of Team Endpoint here. Still got that AK to go and retrieve if they want. Aussie now marshalling the drop as best he can with CZ in hand. Limited number of bullets to his disposal. As Pickles with his second crisp 1 finds Pulse from the top of mid. As 40 seconds rock up on the clock. See Pickles making his way towards B. The wonders of X-ray as the mid push now does come in, and they're going to have pretty much free reign of this B site now if they, not the B site, sorry, the A site. All three Vex players gambling on a B push. So they're going to be getting on their bike and trying to get in as best they can. Haven't really got the firepower to challenge here, but you know, maybe they can be clever working through mid. Aaron does see a shoulder. Picks up one, maybe won't be expecting the second, and you see he's looking away and moving away as Vanity tries to come in from behind, and does come in from behind, grabs himself an AK through his trouble as well. Weber using the van to good advantage though, gives him that cover, having the call from side, and now they can just work the clock. Mighty Max with a flash out. They want this frag if they can, they want that AK if they can. And it's going to be 2-0 to Endpoint. Couple of crisp little digs from Pickles, but aside from that, only going to go in one direction, I think. So we see what happens now. Vex going for a full eco. You know, it's very difficult to go for any forces on the CT side when things aren't going your way in the first couple of rounds. Just going to push through and get as much utility as they can. Very, very useful utility as Aaron. He's taken down to 14 points of health, going to disappear back down Titanic, and he does live to fight another day. Ozzy got tagged down to 77, I think. Just caught himself a nade. And down goes Ozzy. Aaron does pick up that frag. UMP in hand. So a 200% kill bonus with the ump. Maybe not quite as effective as it once was, the UMP. Sometimes the FAMAS is preferred. Pickles again doing some early damage on these pistol rounds against the Endpoint players. Luzzer going down there. Weber is very quick to find quicks as he makes his rotate in from behind. Bomb planted, and again it's going to be an attempt to retake the A site from Connector. Let's have a little fly around and see what's going on here. So 3 players out of balcony, one from truck. Pickles is caught, and now they're going in one at a time. Pulse with a crossfire that he set up with his teammate Mighty Max on the platform. Truth goes down, and it is going to be 3-zip in favour of Endpoint. As you'd expect, they win the first, they win the next 2. And this is where things are going to start getting interesting. And this is where the pressure can really start to pile on. Vexed, they don't have access to an AWP at this point. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I think you do have some issues with the AWP. If it hangs over towards A site, you kind of play solo A with an AWP. It's not the end of the world as Valenti boosts his teammate straight up onto tree. Useful little area. It's not the first place that you check the tree area. It tends to look more towards stairs, then chicken, then fountain, and then kind of drop area. So it's probably the 3rd or 4th place that you're going to check, and you might be able to pick up a frag or 2 from that position. But by the same token, if you get spotted there, they will continue to check as Vanity brings back to 3v3. Ozzy in the balcony finds Luzzer as he makes his way into the A site. Bomb walking up in that direction, so smoke comes in. Spam coming through. Ozzy's been spotted in Hull House. Weber going to do what he can from there. Mighty Max, though, he has to get on his bike, and he is going to walk in. Does pick up the frag. Got to be careful of Truth, maybe coming into Hull House. Weber may be worried about the players coming in from mid. There is no player coming in from mid. As we see 45 seconds left to go on the clock and counting. 2v2 situation. Truth going to be looking in through door. So Mighty Max will have the first engagement. And just waiting for information, waiting for Weber to get himself into a better position. Has he got any utility to help? Not really. One flash from Mighty Max as he makes his way onto the site. Weber steps out and gets spammed through the wood. Throws his one flash into the sky. It's a bit of a Hail Mary. Can he get the second? Can he get the rifle control? No, not quite. And it is going to be Vexed putting a round on the board. So some would say that a solitary CT round might be enough on Cobblestone, as is the way this map sometimes plays. Mighty Max not quite crisp enough in that situation with the AK. Probably had 2-3 bites of the cherry where he could have found the face of that player and wasn't able to do so. So a little disappointing. Not sure what the Endpoint boys have had on their calendar in terms of other matches and that sort of thing. I think they might have played a game before this one, actually, in the same competition. I should have looked that one up. I don't think we can say lack of warm-up is going to be an issue. I'll be getting prepared to take on Vexed. Exciting little battle, this one. Or at least has the potential to be. So look to try and take a bit of control mid and side. Pickles, so he gets 1 and 2. Mighty Max coming in from Z. Will try and get a refrag out of this, and does. Can he get the second from Truck? Not quite. Quicks down to such low HP. Aaron going to be looking towards the hole, and does find a shot on Aussie as he tries to make his way towards the site. And he might get lucky. Aaron going to get the plant. 3v1 situation. See what Vanity can do then. He might be tempted to go for this, but it will be a reset. And resets hit you particularly hard on CT side, and they hit you even harder on heavily T-sided maps. So he quite wisely decides he's going to step away. Fancy standout player alongside Pickles, 6 frags to 3 deaths for him so far. Everyone on the Endpoint side fairly even, all chipping in, all getting involved. As the reset comes in, so they'll take that AK through. But aside from that, it's going to be upgraded pistols, a bit of armor, that kind of thing. No head armor aside from on Aussie, but against a 5 AK setup, it's one-shot headshot anyway, so you may as well save that extra bit of cash and get an extra bit of utility to put on your belt. On board with Vanity as he's making his way over towards the side area. Flash is heading in that direction. Truth doing what he can over towards the long B. Such a crucial area of this map. Two players are up close. Might get caught out here. Vanity with the trade, making use of the AK, needed that firepower, and down goes Luzza. Just going to fall away now back towards the A site. Just be patient. In the meantime, Endpoint looking for some kind of play. Weber gets caught from drop down. So a good bit of lockdown from those two. Aussie with the spray finds Aaron, and then Mighty Max leaving Pulse. Last man standing against 3. Seen these one. Up from Titanic, heading towards short. Looking towards short, looking towards drop down. Maybe hoping he can catch someone unawares. They're going to bring him in and make him fight for it. Pickle shows his head, but able to duck himself straight back in. Now they're setting up a crossfire for him if he pushes too far into the site. 15 seconds left to go. Not enough time. Pulse is tempted to go for it though, up towards Stone. Plays for one. Doesn't come away with it though, and it is going to be 4-2. Now I am just quickly going to fly you through. Sorry for the motion sickness. I might have to work on my configs or something. But this drop down area is so crucial. And if you get control of this, it's effectively like having mid control on a map like Mirage. From here, you've got the route you can go into connector into A, you can go connector into B, you can come here short B. And then if you set this one up with a pincer movement from players either coming in from Titanic if you want to go B, or same thing over towards A if you've got players coming in from side. You know, if you've got that control, you know, you've got the full choice of where you want to go from that point, and a good bit of assist from one of your teammates can be super effective. And talking of super effective, this A push coming in from Endpoint, they've worked this to perfection. Vanity with the frag. Looks to be the standout guy is Aaron, though. He picks up a frag of his own. They make their way, trying to cross towards site. Aaron gets another. That's his second of the round, and it is going to be a 5-2 lead in favour of Endpoint. So, really good A execute from the boys. And this, I think, is worrying signs for Vex that they got into A so comfortably there. And if anything, if you're looking for ways to attack on Cobblestone, if you can make it work in A, then I think A is probably the preferred route. There are too many times when you go towards B, if you want to try and get control of Drop Down or get control of Titanic, or even once you've got control of those two, actually entering and getting into the site, getting a plant and getting to a position where you can hold that off. There are so many things that can go wrong with that you might find that A is actually the easier option. If you can get a pick somewhere like side, where it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it gives you more of a fighting chance, then you can actually slow up any potential rotators. Quick and Aussie with a frag apiece, and they bring it from a numbers advantage for Endpoint back the other way. They are now pegged back with a 4-3 disadvantage. Bomb still up, 3 AKs against CZs as the plant comes in over towards the A site. See if they can lock it down now. Pickles catches Weber unawares. He's looking in towards Z, where he's got a teammate in there waiting for him as Aaron gets himself a frag, as does Pulse. Brings it back to 2v2. Aaron with his second of the round. Got Pulse up on the site, so they are absolutely fine here. Pickles from the mid. If he catches Pulse from the site, he's got Aaron to refrag instantly. So tries to spam through, and Pickles is going to save that AK. And Aaron now sitting top of the frag charts, 9-4. I'm not 100% sure on what the situation is regarding Aaron, but saw him play a couple of weeks ago. First time back after some time away from the game. And had a standout performance. I think one of the most talented players that we have in the UK. Had issues with lineups and issues with being able to put in as much time as he maybe would have liked to. I'm not sure if the time situation is improving, but absolute joy to watch Aaron. I'll try and catch it a few moments, but things like his rifle control is, I mean, it's an absolute joy. You look at that compared to Mighty Max, who, again, very, very talented, very skillful player, but it just looks a little more frenetic with Mighty Max with his AK in hand. You see he finds 2 frags with it, including 1 headshot. Just doesn't seem to have the same rifle control, spray control, if you like. Still super effective, but it just shows that 2 players on the same team, competing at a similar kind of level, their approaches do vary. And sometimes it works for you, and sometimes you'll have days where you think, is this the right way? Why isn't this working? Wayward nade coming in from the Endpoint side. There's been a few of those flying around, actually. A mid-flash caught someone in the back. Aussie up on the boost. But Weber is more than equal to that. Quicks finds Pulse as he walks in towards mid. Gonna try and throw misdirection as Endpoint setting up for a B. Weber, so he's jumped. Oh, and walks into Pickles, facing in the wrong direction. A couple of times that's happened to Weber in quick succession as well, where he's looking the wrong way as someone shoots him from behind. On the side of the head, I think it might have been. With the bomb. Mighty Max is caught, as is Aaron in the end, with the push from behind from Quicks. And it is Endpoint then 7-3. Endpoint can keep buying into this. Luzza with the AWP in hand. Haven't seen too much of them, or too much of the AWP, sorry, on their T side. Let's see what we have here. Looking towards side, going for an aggressive shoulder peek. Luzza gets himself set. He's like, yeah, I'm ready to take the shot. And doesn't get a chance to crack one off as the shoulder peek comes in. I guess waiting for the reface. Didn't come, though. And quite wise from the Vexed player not to re-peek again. probably wouldn't have ended too well for him. So with this AWP inside, then they need to try and work out what they want to do with it. So first port of call is to get this little boost underway. See if there's anything to be had. Actually, 2 players in Zs. This is going to be interesting. If you're going to put an AWP inside, they can't be first. You need your, or at least one AK to be leading the charge, and they are. Little tentative, but Pulse, wow. The pre-fire on that, London with the AWP gets Aussie as he tries to come in from the side. Quicks, he's in a bit of trouble. Tries to throw a nade out of there, and that does a bit of splash damage, but it isn't enough. And Lazza whips out the pistol. He's like, I don't need any rifle support from my teammates. I'll just do it myself. He's absolutely fine, and he does. Got the bomb in hand. And an AWP, so they can try and get distance from these rotators. Truth though, he's got an AWP of his own, and he's got 2 frags with that. Mighty Max going to use the smoke for cover. We'll be able to get a plant in, but 2 players to hold off from. Got to be careful of the range of the AWP. Sees a flash come in, so he's got the first player. 20/20 hindsight, if he sprayed through that smoke, he would have picked up the frag, but maybe he doesn't want to give the game away. He's got that AWP standing right next to him on short. Neither of them really know. There's Truth that fires the first shot, so his position's been given away. That molly onto the site going to slow up any potential defuse, and Mighty Max does pick up the all-important final frag, 8-3. And that is another reset. Vex going to be forced back onto Famous, that kind of thing. So that situation they had over towards short, that 1v1. Something that I've learned in probably the last month or 2. Been playing a lot more recently. I'm filling in for a team at the Insomnia I-62 event at the end of next month. So I've been putting in a lot more playing hours. And something I've noticed is that when you see smoke, spraying through it gets you a surprising number of results. I mean, it used to be you say, oh, don't push through smoke, don't push through smoke. And teams are still fearful of pushing through that smoke. But what they will do is sit in it and try and either peek through or just use it as some cover. Really, if they want the smoke to dissipate, they want to have that like half-second advantage to make a pick somewhere. But if you're spraying through it, other maps that we can talk about as well, like Cache. If you see a smoke over towards A and you spam through that, if you're covering from highway and CT side, you might end up taking 2-3 players trying to rotate on, and I think that's so important. At that point, they were both tentative to do it, and in the 1v1, it was CZ Fire that gave the game away in the end, but maybe if either of them had done that a little earlier on, it could have been a completely different situation, as it's pretty much a deathmatch action in the mid. Teams trading left, right and centre, but Endpoint had the firepower, they had the weaponry at their disposal and were able to pick it up. I think I saw a Swag 7 kill in there, amongst other things, but that was very frenetic. The result was no different though, and Endpoint are continuing their charge. Vexed pushed back onto a scrub situation, so upgraded pistols, 1 bit of armor, that's it. Mighty Max does get quick straight away. Pickles gets 1 before he's traded straight out. Numbers favour Endpoint. We've seen this pattern far too many times as Lazza with the AWP is starting to get himself into the action again with a frag on Truth, Vanity and Aussie. Last 2 men standing, and what we're seeing of Vanity so far in the last game and in this, we're going to see a hero play. He might well have that in his locker, but very tough ask at this point. Weber and Z maybe going to get a tussle with Aussie, who's taken down to 17 points of health. Information will be given, and the rest of his teammates are going to make their way over towards the A site. They've got the smell of blood in the water, and they want to pick up that player who is now over towards Cannons, and he's caught without any more blood being spilt of the Endpoint side. Plant coming down, Vanity with 4 players left to find. P250 in hand. probably going to try and get himself a weapon. Maybe get one more exit as well. And that could well be that. Players jumping all around him. It's Weber with the ump. 200% kill bonus, so he's padded his stats with, I think, a couple of frags with that weapon in hand. So he's 7-4. So in doing so, he has pretty much made sure that he can bankroll some of his teammates right up until the close of this half. 2 more left to go then, 10-3. If Vex can pull this one back to 10-5, then that's actually not a bad result. But as you see, fully committed into this round. Everyone on 0, aside from Pickles, who's got $150 in the account. Maybe gives him enough to buy the team a Nando's, but that's all you're going to get out of that. And only lost 3 on the spin, so they haven't got full loss bonus available to them. Might have to forego some utility to get weapons, or vice versa, pass up on the utility. Quicks is sitting in fire, and out he goes. A couple of attempts to actually get a frag on him, but Lus's fire does all the work. Vanity is boosted up in that little spot, so his position will be known and they'll be able to deal with that. Aaron is taken down to low, but that AK control in full display. Ozzy gets a perfect flash out, completely blind to Titanic players, but it doesn't do enough. They're still going to be able to push and make their way onto the site and try and pick up the frag on him. Looking towards drop down, and he casually bounces up, flicks towards Aaron, who is on super low HP anyway, to his credit, but nice frag nonetheless. Nuzza with the AWP, walking towards A. There is nobody there. Spoiler alert. Weber walking in, looking towards Stone. He knows that there's Ozzy at the fountain as well. Tried to deal with both of them at the same time. Nothing comes of that. Doesn't know what happens here. Oh, okay. Well, that's thrown a bit of extra money in the direction of one of the Vex players, but never mind. So we say Weber can bankroll a drop in the direction of Mighty Max. And Vex are actually potentially on for this 10-5 after all that. It shows the state of things on this map when you're saying that 5 rounds CT side is a good position to be in. Reminds me of Train of the Days of Source. As Truth gets 1, make it 2, make it 3, make it 4. Oh no, not quite. Not quite. Possible 5k for him there. Doesn't quite pan out, but Vex, they do get that 10-5. And they can be pretty pleased with that, all things considered. The trouble that you have, the real trouble that you have on a map like this is even if you put a decent score together on the weaker side, there is still so much riding on the pistol. Because if Endpoint can pick up the CT side pistol, then you would expect they'll piggyback through and get the next couple. Maybe Vex could go for a third round AK buy if they get a bomb plant or 2, but you would pretty much expect that you'd be staring down the barrel of a 13-5 if that were to happen. First buy versus buy, Endpoint win that. 14-5, win the eco, 15-5, then they need 1 round to bring it home. So still vitally important on this T side for Vexed to give them a fighting chance here. Just want to say, while we've got a moment, thank you very much for watching tonight. New surroundings for me, broadcasting on Endpoint TV. Hopefully it won't be the only game that you'll be watching on Endpoint TV with me behind the mic. No shout out while we're at it to our sponsors, HyperX and Overclockers. Also to Raven, where you can go and buy yourself an Endpoint jersey if you so wish, and they look absolute class. I might have to invest at some point. And also to Noble Chairs, the single most comfortable chair I have probably ever sat in life. Unbelievable things. I haven't gone and invested in one myself yet. Going through the process of a house purchase, but at some point I will have to get myself one of those Noble chairs. They are unbelievable. Just waiting for things to go live. Everyone to grab drinks. Talk about what they want to do in this first pistol v pistol round. Trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, a couple of players still sitting around spawn. So once we see a bit of life out of Quicks and now Aussie. We'll probably see the game get back up and running.
Counter-terrorists win.
This is interesting. It's like trying to commentate a game at Epic LAN. Get to a break, everyone disappears for a quarter of an hour. Goes out for a smoke, goes to get a burger. I can't see anything in chat as to... Oh no, okay, we are underway, so we won't go to a quick break, and we're now back into this second half. So as we were saying, vitally, vitally important for Vexed to pick this one up and bring it to 10-8. Make it a very interesting little battle. If Endpoint can pick up this pistol, it puts them very, very much in the Noble Chairs racing seat. Oh, that was terrible. I apologise. And they are not messing around, going pretty fast into it. Weber does a bit of damage, but actually comes off worse as Aaron goes down. Luzzer over towards side, so he could get caught with the pincer movement very, very quickly. Weber peaks, and Luzzer does get one, does get two actually before he is flashed, and he might actually be able to survive. That is perfect play from Luzzer as he picks up the 3K. Two players from balcony, and Luzzer with the 4. Wow. Okay, that was huge. That was huge from Luzzer, and I only caught it when they were coming up towards the mid area, but he's sitting here towards side. And Vex, they weren't putting enough pressure in from side. They're more worried about this mid push. So, you know, Luzzer able to step out, catch players as they made their way up. Weber did his bit as well, peeking in from door, caused a bit of a distraction, was able to come into balcony as well and just peeked out. Pretty much drew attention to here, and that just allowed Luzzer to have full control. If they put more side pressure in, it would have been a different story, and they would have taken Luzzer down very, very quickly and been able to take side control, but no such luck. Bomb plant does come in, so that is useful, and the numbers are actually pretty even at this point in terms of players left alive. Vanity's got himself over towards Chicken. Weber's looking in that direction as if he knows that a player might potentially have got there, and I think Weber is actually just being conscientious as Luzzer does pick up the frag, but a little too late. And what a turnaround this would be. Yeah, still worried about the chicken coop, whips out the pistol. Vanity and Truth both down to 58 points of health apiece, but getting tags but not frags. It wasn't enough, and surprised that panned out quite in the way it did. But a sign of weakness over towards the B site. And something we'll have to start looking at when the buy versus buys come in. One of the Endpoint M4s is sitting in the hands of Vanity. Couple of AKs as well. Got to be wary of the old third round AKs on T side. They happen to drop one of those to an Endpoint player. The amount of times I've seen teams get unstuck by that. I'd like to say I'm never the guy that buys the second round AK that ends up cutting down the whole team maybe 45 seconds later, but I am often that guy. I apologise. Mighty Max sitting in the fire, and it gets a bit toasty for him. Doesn't do the usual and flush himself out of there immediately, which is what they expect you to do. Gives the impression that maybe there's no one there if you don't come sprinting out. Dancing like you're running on hot coals. And that gives you that split second where they're looking away towards other angles where you can step out and get yourself at least one frag out of it, which is exactly what happens. But you know, no opportunity for a weapon to be recovered by their teammates as they're now facing off against the push onto the A site. Quicks, he's going to be making his way into side. So he loves it from that position. Not able to hold it off in quite the same way. Aaron takes down one. Pulse getting nailed in the back as he tries to get out of dodge and towards balcony. Comes out whole house. If he had a little more HP, might be able to do something there. Pickles just walking and watching towards balcony. Aaron decides no such luck. If he gets himself to Titanic, he'll probably be able to recover the weapon that got dropped there. That's exactly what he's doing, looking for it. Can't find it, does find it. It's like a treasure hunt. And he finds himself an exit frag as well. Nope. Vexed realise they are not home and dry at this point. Not going on the hunt. Loza leading the charge, 17-14 is his score. Helped a little bit by the 4K to open up the pistol round of this second half. Aaron going to try and get up close and personal at the crack. Towards B long, B Titanic. Quicks going to be first to face. That flash isn't going to distract Aaron, and he gets one. Can he get the second on Vanity? No, he can't. Pulse is there to trade back, but that could have been so much more. A couple of times Endpoint have just been a fraction of a second late to save their teammate. And now Luz are going to be in a bit of trouble. Got a player coming in to get the pincer movement. He was completely white from that flash that he caught. Knew exactly where he was. But still the player wrapping towards short was his downfall there as well. (11-8) in favour of Endpoint. Lost 3 on the spin in the second half. First real opportunity at a buy. Loza with the AWP. Going to be going aggro Santos with it over towards the A long area. He catches Aaron up towards tree. Aussie and Truth in with a player apiece as well. Plant coming in, and this first 5v has been fairly disastrous. We're talking about the tree boost. Once you get caught in that position, they're going to check it on the regular. I think as Vexed tend to use it, they just check it as a matter of course as Luzza grabs Pickles over towards side. Vexed now may be tempted to hunt for the AWP. See Webber's looking in towards Connector, gets one. No, he doesn't get one. So Luzza now in trouble. He's got the call, he knows he's got players coming in his direction. That's a tough shot to make, maybe a collateral, maybe a second frag for him. No, he's caught. Quicks almost looked like he panicked a bit there, trying to spray, but he comes away with it. Very, very tough skill to handle an AWP in a close quarter situation like that. And to be honest, I think a big reason you become an AWPer is that you don't have to get involved in that type of situation too much. I think I tend to AWP more often than not, and it's mainly because I do end up panicking a little bit in situations where I've got a player right in front of me, or a couple of them. Just end up holding mouse one and crouching, and since we're not playing Source anymore, that is far, far less effective as Vex take full control of A site. Endpoint guys pretty much facing one at a time. Getting caught in spray downs. Finding Max up in the balcony. Down he goes, Luzza. Over towards side again. No more magic at this opportunity. So 11 to 10. 5 on the spin. Going in the direction of Vexed. Endpoint back on the buy. All I'm going to do is preempt that they might decide to attack B again. It's been an area where they've got a fair amount of success so far. It's because they're stacking up over towards... Oh, Weber might be able to catch someone, and does catch someone. And now they decide they want to push and get him out of Z. If they can, and Ozzy spraying all around him. Vanity catches Luzza. He was distracted by the numbers, knew he'd have to try and do something, and took his eye off the area that he was expected to be watching. Pols gets 2, gets 3, over towards Stables. Pols 23 points of health over towards Truck, and does manage to nail Vanity as well, down to 43 points of health. Endpoint need this round though. Can't let Vanity pick up the 4K, get the clutch. One thing they can allow at this point though is the bomb plant. Stopping that isn't a big priority for them at this point. It's Vanity walking through. Thinking of walking through, he gets caught in the crossfire. And it is going to be 12 to 10, so Endpoint need to be careful of the reset. Because if they get reset here, back onto a scrub by of pistols, this is the opportunity for Vex to draw level. And if you level on the easier T side, with the CT economy struggling to build, well, there's only one way it should be going, and if you're not picking up the win out of that, you've got to be having a good long hard look at yourselves and your ability to close. Luzza up close in the boost. And the Swag 7, very, very useful up towards Crouch. As Mighty Max, he gets caught by the Crouch wander out. There's only so much that can be done. And from this point, Aaron and Pulse go down one at a time. This B setup is a bit of a disaster. And once this round's over, we'll stick in the site and talk about it just quickly. I think these guys even going to go for it. No, they're just going to try and hold off. So, oh, wow. So what I will do is I'll fly us over to the B site and let's take a little look at what the setup is here. Very, very difficult area to hold, the B site. But from where they had it, one player up here towards Crack. And then one player down here at the steps where Mighty Max got caught. So he's sitting here and the players walked out, Crouch walked out from behind the box. The trouble that you have with this situation is you need this player at Crack to engage. When the smoke's down, there's going to be players probably here in this corner walking through this area. When the smoke's there, they feel like they've got that ability where they can work. So what your steps player needs to do is get up to the box, face and engage. They need to get the information that there's players there, and then the muzzle fire gives information to the Crack player that can step up. And if you are here where Lazo is right now and there's players in this area, you know they're there and you're spraying through, that's where you pick up the 3K. With the crossfire from the guy at box who can just sit here and spray through. He won't do much damage, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to give a little bit of splash damage. If you play too passive on that, or you allow a guy to get picked off, then suddenly the guy who's here at Crack or up on Tree, they just get swarmed by the numbers. It's so easy for one flash off the box to blind, like here. One flash off the box is enough to blind both of these two players. So you need to have the guy up on steps, engaging, shoulder peeking, getting information, calling it to the guys that are at Crack. Otherwise, it's not going to pan out. Oh, and by the way, something that I didn't mention, you also need to have a guy that can lock down, drop down. Because if you've got players coming in to drop out into B, again, same thing. It's going to cause an absolute disaster to your players that are in the site. Completely opens it up. Very, very difficult hold. And I've seen super strong teams struggle CT side on Cobble. It's the way it goes, but you need to be able to do it. Otherwise, you just have teams that will go and run through you all day. They'll run through you all day over towards the B site because it's comfortable and it's easy for them. And they won't really need to worry about A too much. And A, if anything, it's the easier site to execute on T side. But if they let you walk into B, B is probably the easier to hold off once you've got the plant down. Now it's a lot easier to actually retake the A site, in my opinion anyway. And the main reason for that is the number of ways that you can get in. You would hope there's enough numbers left you can get one to come in behind from mid or behind side. One in the balcony, one or two in the door. Whole house is there as well. So if you've got 4 or 5 players left, you can pretty much come in from 4 or 5 different angles to retake the A site. As Aussie gets a frag on Luzza over towards side. Mighty Max jumps out a window. Down he goes. It's against pistols, so almost expected. Tough little retake from this point, but it is a sign of things to come. It's getting onto A site isn't difficult against most teams. And this is something that we can talk about again. In fact, a retake isn't going to happen, so let's go and do that again now. Not difficult, really, to work mid. I mean, the first thing that you might do is sit towards the top. If you've got an AWP on your T side, then the AWPer can look towards mid or look towards side, and first of all, rule out any kind of pushes or someone trying to peek. You see where truth is now. If a CT player does that, AWP here, the AWP is going to win 9 times out of 10. That's a really tough shot to pull out when you're running around this corner trying to get your AK shot here. As a pause comes in, very well-timed tactical pause, I think, from Endpoint that's going to be. But from here, if you've got a player that's sitting round about this area or this area, all you need is 2 players in, refrag as one option, or one flash off this wall into here, go blind a player that's here or here, you push out. If there's 2 of you there, again, you've got a refrag, worst case, good trade. Best case, you'll end up taking that player out, and it's super easy. Again, player from here, you're going to look for these 2 angles. And again, if there's 2 of you pushing through from here, which there's a good chance there will be, Then again, he's not going to be able to get both of you unless he's super crisp. From that point, you've got side control. And then, as we've got this pause, actually, let's fly over there and have a look at side as well. Because when you've got side control, you know, your mid players can give you some useful info, but from here, you've got plenty of angles. So you've got truck that you can look towards. If you step out a little bit, you can see balcony without exposing yourself too much. You can then peek out and you've got any players here towards stables. Again, not exposing you too much. Whole house you can peek to as well. If a mid player is going to come from his little mid angle out towards here to deal with side players, well, if you've got a player mid, then they can just peek up here. Oh, look, there's a player looking towards side. Bang, there's a headshot. You know, easy, easy stuff. The A site is the route he wants to try and take his Luzzer. He's up on the boost, he's got two. And Weber gets a frag as well, so that's nice work from Weber. He can now look towards the two players coming in from mid, and he has messed that up royally. Just spraying a little too much. At that point, maybe could have just dropped out. But 3v2 in favour of Endpoint. The tactical pause may well have worked. They've made a stand over towards the A site. Pulse sitting in from behind. Has an opportunity to wander in. Just time this perfectly. He's actually a little far away to be able to help out at this point. But, oh, now the information is going to be coming in. Pulse needs to get on his bike and try and help Mighty Max out. He's got that angle. So Max hasn't got too much to worry about as such. But Pulse could do with getting into position to refrag. You see, he's just going to sit and watch the bomb. Nicely done. Endpoint bringing it to 13-13. But little look at the money. Little look at the money as three players need to buy weapons. They're going for a double AWP setup as well, which is perhaps a little risky. You see, Vexed, they're absolutely fine. They're absolutely fine on cash. They can keep rebuying, dropping, all of that good stuff. If Endpoint get reset 14-13, they have got nothing really that they can use. They'll have 200, not 200, 2.5 grand in the coffers. Pretty much have to play for the draw. As Pulsey's got the info, he knows there's 4 players coming up mid. But be careful of the boost, and Pulse does pick up that frag. So Aaron did tag Quicks down to about half. Maybe that's where the information come from, as the plant is going to come in from the site. But 4 players left. We mentioned if you've got 4 players, you've got plenty of angles that you can rotate from if you want to. They're all banking on connector though. So he's got himself up into the boost, does catch Weber, not even looking in the right direction. He wanted to get himself into Whole House. 2 players under balcony though. Will they know about that? Well, I think they are finding out a little too late, and they're already getting out of there. They know the implications of getting reset. Gonna keep what weapons they can, but wow. Oh dear. I think the best chance that they had, and it's a real difficult one to actually think about this, but as soon as there was a chance they're going to lose A, get a player out towards mid. Get them a long Titanic or up boost or something like that. Just get them coming in towards mid or side. Give you that extra bit of direction. He's obviously boosted into the balcony, and from that point he was in the position of power. And now they switch back towards B. Do Vex as Aaron gets one. Mighty Max with a frag as well. Mighty Max with the second towards Chicken Coop, so that's going to get him flushed out. That Molotov, that smoke though, saves him by the bell. Aaron out of the box. Finds Quick's last man standing. Loves are trying to come in from behind. Them firing off shots at each other. Giving away information to each other. Quicks tries to get Luzzer. He retrieves himself a weapon for his trouble as well, and 14-14. Endpoint reset right back, but it's not a problem for Vexed, who still have 6K, 8K. sitting around. They are rich at this point. Plenty of money in the bank. Max sitting up towards the fountain this time. Probably a more difficult position to be playing from than he was a chicken, where you've got a little more time on your hands, perhaps. Now moving towards the steps of Titanic, which is probably my favourite area to play it with the AWP. As Luzza, he gets two. That's Aussie and Vanity going down. Weber in the Z. He's got caught a few times. The two players coming in. He's trying to spray down, and it isn't working out for him, and they're getting control of it. But Pulse, he's able to chip in with a bit of an assist from Luzza, who did plenty of splash damage over towards side. Monument's going to anchor B as Aaron's get himself into a better position over towards A or connector. Pulse, he's got side. With 30 seconds left to go on the clock, you would expect he'll be able to hear footsteps if it comes mid. Can call in the information to his teammates. These two remaining Vex players make their way over towards B. 25 seconds left to go on the clock. Drop, Max gets one. We'll be calling in the info. 10 seconds left to go. Can a plant come out of it? No, it can't. Aaron was sitting in connector. Perfectly poised to go either A or B. His attention was nearly towards B. And Endpoint. One round away from victory. Vexed. Full AK buy. Aussie 29 and 19. What a performance from him. Probably going to get a 30 bomb out of this, and when you 30 bomb and lose 16-14, oh, it's soul destroying. Max making it challenging for himself with that angle, to say the least. As two players, they get out of Titanic. Pulse gets one. That was Aussie, but Aaron doing what he can from over towards Stone. Bunker coming, 2v2. Weber and Luzza. He's got an AWP coming in. Weber gets one, Luzza gets one, GG. Well, that was a little unexpected. I will be completely honest. And I'm hoping I don't get dropped out just long enough that I can point out this position Max was in. So